With that, let's commence today's discussion. To begin, it is our honor to welcome on stage the founder of our company, Mr. Vikash Goel. A recognized business leader, 40 under 40 by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Vikash is a fellow chartered accountant, a registered valuer, a registered research analyst with SEBI. He also holds advanced management credentials from the prestigious Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. With over 18 years of experience in business valuation, financial consulting, and talent management, Vikash has consistently demonstrated his expertise in leading complex valuation engagement and guiding organizations towards realizing their full potential. In addition to his professional achievement, he is an accomplished author, having written 3 books on valuation with his most recent release just over a month ago. Vikash, we all welcome you on stage.
Thank you very much. इतना नहीं बोलना होता है अपने इवेंट पे. All right. Thank you so much, Preeti and Avril. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming here. It's always very, very overwhelming. There are various occasions on which I get on the stage, but every year, this is the moment which makes me the most nervous because of the size of audience, the kind of audience that we have on stage, have in the hall every year. Just to give you one line of background around the whole event. This is an event where we organize this just to express our gratitude to our clients, to our industry supporters. As a first generation entrepreneur, we only learn from the ecosystem. And I am truly blessed to have the kind of support that I've received from the ecosystem. I mean, from where we started to where we are today. So, I mean, how do I say thank you to everybody, right? So that's why we try to organize this event so that we can meet each other, we can share some insights, right? And then that's about it. So I'm going to, like, as a convention, I have a small presentation which talks about some of the insights. So I begin with that. While we are into transaction advisory, investment banking, valuations, and talent management, one of the things that is very close to my heart is valuation. And we keep hearing about numbers, right? Of course, all of you are stalwarts in the business yourselves. But what we've seen is that 80% of the valuations are subjective, comes from the qualitative factors. It's only 20% number crunching. So over the last few years, some of the insights that we've gathered, I'm going to quickly talk about that, right? So we see there are 6 tenets that drives business value that we've seen. So we start with product, we talk about people, process, performance, planet, and plans, right? So I'm quickly going to run through that. Right? So when we talk about product, of course, everybody knows it. It's the product that drives the business. When we say product, it's both product as well as service. So how do businesses compete or drive greater value through their products? So of course, we deal with large clients. We deal with startups that were born yesterday. We deal with Fortune 500 companies, NSE constituents. Right? So especially, what about small companies, mid-sized companies? How do they create value? So one of the things that we've noticed is the companies which drive maximum values are the ones who have created a differentiation in the competitive markets, right? I mean, think of FMCG market as an example. Very, very competitive, razor-thin margins. But we've seen examples of companies like Patanjali who've created a differentiator, positioned themselves in a different manner, and created value. Second is monitor emerging trends. Now, it's a very, very fast-paced business environment. Things are changing at amazing pace, right? So how do you keep pace with the trends, with the changing trends? So Zara, again, a classic example because they have used AI, they have used amazing supply chain models to keep track of the emerging trends. In fact, they're designed to store, right? From the time they identify a design to the time they get the product to the store, the timelines is 1/5 of the industry average, right? And that's the way they've been able to create value over time. Third is investing in R&D. Now, how many of you know about this company called Agnikul? Right? So Abhishek, I think you're one of the investors, yes? So it's an Indian-based startup, and they are working in space technology. And I'm sure Abhishek being an investor in Agnikul can speak more about it. But they are doing amazing stuff around space tech, and they're trying to make the space more affordable for the world at large, right? So how do you invest in R&D is again a great driver for value. Second tenet is, again, that we can go on and on. I'm just picking some small examples. Second is people. Now, when we say people, we talk about both customers as well as employers, right? And employees. So when you say customer experience, again, we've seen the whole startup ecosystem. They've been all focusing on customer loyalties. Some of them have been able to build great businesses around it, and the others have actually destroyed their businesses as well because they focused on customer, but at the same time, they did not look at the financials, right? So Swiggy, for example, has been focusing on delivery. So again, we know about Swiggy, Zomato, how they compete in a competitive environment and how they've been able to create value by focusing on the customers themselves. Second, again, so there's a very classic example from Volkswagen, right? Especially in the global world, automobile companies have done cutthroat advertisements. Now, what Volkswagen did is, in order to gain, now how many of us actually look at advertisement when it comes on TV? We're not even watching television these days, right? So what Volkswagen did is, they used to come up with a commercial ad. Now, in that commercial ad, used to be a QR code. You scan the QR code and there's a car racing game going on. And you actually play the game live. And there are actually competitors everyone who's watched that ad at that point and everyone who scanned the code at that point is playing the game together, right? So imagine what a beautiful way of driving customer engagement through advertisements on television, which usually is just one-way communication. Similarly, how do you build a great employer brand? Now, I, I mean, so for example, Amazon, right? What it did is it trained its workforce to actually find jobs outside of the company. Now, Amazon, if you check out on YouTube and various other places, Amazon has been actually a controversial employer, right? In terms of what kind of work-life balance it has had, what kind of pressure people go through, and so on. Now, one of the things it did to sort of improve its employer brand is it said that, okay, you're working in XYZ role in our company, but let's say you want to do something else, right? So Amazon actually financed 95% of the fees prepaid and said, go and take up a job somewhere else, find a job somewhere else. So it has an amazing outplacement program as well for people who do not want to work in Amazon. Reverse mentoring is a technique, I'm sure many of you are aware of it. So legacy businesses who've got long-standing employees, they bring in newer people, right? They allow the newer people to actually train the older colleagues, and there's an amazing synergy that comes around it. Oh, so this shouldn't come, right? I mean, everything that we see around in the event, right? That's what our team has done, the team at Omnifin. May I have a small but quick round of applause for the team for the amazing work that they have done. And they continue to do. So we have an amazing environment at Omnifin. I don't brag, Vikash. Chalo. The next is performance. Here we talk about numbers. So again, most of us are having a finance background, so I don't need to talk much about it. But just to quickly talk about revenues, right? Diversify revenue streams, we know about it. Transition to subscription model. Now, transition to subscription model and shift to dynamic pricing are two important trends that are coming up in the revenue space for most businesses. I mean, how many times have we heard this from a customer कि आपने इसको तो इतने में बेचा, मुझे दूसरे प्राइस पे क्यों बेच रहे हो? But at the same time, all of us have flown on airlines जहाँ पे you are sitting beside the person who's bought a ticket 3 times cheaper than you, right? So dynamic pricing is the order of the day. Subscription models are the order of the day. We all know about cross-selling and upselling. Uh, Again, I'm a fan of this company, not because of its on-time performance, but because of its cost model, right? There's this full case study that we have internally at Omnifin around how Indigo has been able to create an amazing cost model. I can actually go on and on about it. But just to give you a very interesting number, they reduced their operating cost to 3.57 rupees per kilometer per passenger in 2023, right? That's their cost model. Next, cash flow management. Again, I saw a very interesting case where we saw that Walmart actually deployed drones in their large warehouses for cataloging process, right? So just imagine they have these huge warehouses and the stocks are all stacked up. Now all of us during our articleship period, during our audit processes have done stock audit where we would actually either go up the stacks or bring down all the products, catalog and bring it and put it back up, right? So what Walmart has done is it has got drones, and these drones are all programmed and they can do your whole cataloging. So reduce the cataloging process or inventory count process from 30 days to 1 day. Okay. Cost of capital, again, this is our subject as valuation professionals, finance professionals. So reduce debt dependence, right? Managing better risk. So some studies say that companies which manage risk better have 82% more patronage from their investors in terms of value. Shareholders, of course, these are fairly known factors. Right. When we talk about process, we also talk about a little bit of technology here. That's what is embedded here. So, for example, streamlining operations. Imagine, I mean, we are all traveling through Uber. Now, Uber has got AI-based facial recognition technology. We can all imagine. Sorry, there's a typo error there. We can all imagine now that I mean, with all DigiYatra and everything, it's come to our mobile phones. But Uber is using that. Uber has been using that for a pretty long time. Improving quality. Now, we don't use, how many of you eat chips these days? Wafers, chips? Yeah? At least our kids still do that. So what PepsiCo did is, it has got this machine learning and artificial intelligence technology where they weigh the potato before peeling and after peeling, right? So you know that it has not been over peeled or under peeled based on their standards. And because if it's over peeled, it's getting rid of some part of the potato and there's a cost attached to it, right? Similarly, they have this sound technology based on which when you crack that chips, right, what kind of sound it makes, is it the right sound? That is the level to which PepsiCo has gone in order to ensure that they are maintaining appropriate quality of the products that they are selling. And Tesla again, some time ago, what hackers in the US did is, because Teslas are all electronic cars, and we've seen this in sci-fi movies, right? That somebody is programming the cars and bringing it to a halt. It actually happened in the US. Okay. So what Tesla did is, it said that it arranged competitions for hackers and gave them awards up to $10,000 who've been able to identify snags in the product so that there is no such risk coming forward. Right? So imagine when companies are able to do things like these, would they not create a lot of value for the others? Now, quickly, towards the end, when we talk about plans and planet, plans is the future. So everything that we do around the perception, and planet is the sustainability side of it. So companies such as ITC are, I'm sure everyone is now bound to have to do it, but they're not only managing the practices from a sustainability perspective, but also tracking them. And we have some stalwarts from the audit field here who can probably share more insights around what companies are doing around sustainability and reporting those sustainability measures. And then, of course, plans. So any valuation is driven by the perception, right? So how do you create your perception? So what kind of innovation you are doing? So doing these things is not enough, right? You need to actually communicate them as well. So while you are doing all of these practices that we just spoke about, does the market know about it? Do your stakeholders know about it, right? So one of our clients, very large conglomerate from South India, said that because we are doing all of these things, but our share prices are not increasing. I said, sir, how will they increase if you don't communicate it? If you're not communicated, the share price is going to increase in the long run for sure, because that's going to show in your results. But if you want short-term benefits as well, at least communicate that, right? Now, those are things that create value. Finally, just a small insight around what destroys value. What are some of the things? Because a lot of our clients come and say, Vikash, we are generating amazing profits, we are generating amazing growth, but why are you giving me a low value, right? Now, see, this is, and this is especially applicable to small businesses, private businesses around us. If I am running Omnifin today and I do not have a succession plan, right? What happens to Omnifin beyond me or beyond my term, right? We all saw this discussion when even Zomato came up with an IPO, right? A lot of people said that Zomato's IPO price or the valuation is driven by Dipinder Goyal's presence. Now, come on, that won't happen beyond a certain point. When you are a large organization, the valuation is not driven by that individual himself. It's driven by, it's the team which is generating that value. Dipinder Goyal will go away for 3 months and the business will still run the way it is. But is it the same for our own businesses? For all of the mid-sized businesses that we all have, right? So if you don't have succession planning, you will not get a good multiple, right? Negative contribution. So you're focusing on people, you're focusing on planet, you're focusing on product, but again, you're not looking at the profit margins. Valuations will not come in. Delegation, similar to succession planning, right? Prioritizing short-term profits over long-term value creation, and poor ethics and governance. A lot of our companies are doing amazing when it comes to managing their financial statements. But when we talk to their business models, there's a lack of ethics in it. There's a lack of governance in it. Some of the companies have told us upfront, कि governance वगैरह हम लोग के business में समझ नहीं आता है, right? So you won't get valuation then. So I think that's my 2 cents on what drives business value. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming here, and I'll hand over to Preeti and Avril to take this forward. Thank you.